Welcome to Seagull Eagle, the podcast where two rivals meet, Crystal Palace and Brighton, where mid-table dreams are discussed like Champions League ambitions.
This week at Brighton, Wieffer does a Rory, scores a double and seals the win. The Albion are the masters at Turf Moor.
Turf Moor. This week at Palace, a convincing win against Fiorentina gives us a 3-0 advantage in the second leg. And a late comeback at Newcastle means 3 goals in 4 days for Mateta.
We'll discuss all of this and so much more because it is Seagull Eagle. Hello, mate. How are you?
I'm all right, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. It's been a good week, obviously. It's been a good week for both of us, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we've progressed in Europe and you've beaten Burnley. I mean, it's very similar.
It started early. God, he's gone early. It has been a good week for both of us. The sun is shining today as well, which is nice. It feels like summer's on its way, doesn't it, you know?
Oh, it does. And also, just football's back as well. We've had the international... I think Palace have had 3 weeks without any games, which is ridiculous when you think about the fact that we had 3 games in a week at one point. We've missed it. We've missed going to the Palace, and it's been lovely to go up there twice. And funny enough, back up there again next Monday as well. So, lots of trips to the football, which is great. And, the only thing that could have gone better is if Brighton had lost this weekend. But that didn't happen, did it?
Unbelievable. No, it did not. Before we go any further, actually, one other thing I probably should say.
Oh, go on. Announcement.
Happy anniversary.
Oh, go on.
Seagull Eagle anniversary. This is, we've been going for 1 year now. We're officially 1 year old. Yeah.
That's mad.
I know.
Wow.
I know.
46 episodes or something, I think it is.
Yeah, I think this is 48, not including all the specials 48. That we did over the FA Cup and all that sort of stuff, yeah. So
wow.
We've done all right.
Well done, Neil. I'm proud of you, mate, for sticking through this, because there was a time that I didn't think you'd make it.
I have to admit, there was some dark days right at the beginning.
And in the middle when we won the FA Cup, that was a tough ride for you.
I don't remember that. I blacked out, I think.
Yeah.
Listen, let's get on to the games then. We will start. Well, as you had a 2-game week, let's start with you boys. Premier League. Crystal Palace versus Newcastle. I have to admit, I was a little bit shocked by this result. I was sort of kind of...
In what way?
I was kind of expecting Newcastle to do a number on you. I can't lie, especially after your jaunt in Europe on the week as well. So, but yeah, look, I'll hand it over to you, mate. Tell me about it.
Oh, mate, listen, we're a bit of a different team these days. We've got a bench and everything, and a near 3-week break as well, right?
Yeah.
Even obviously the international players didn't get that, but yeah, I mean, look, just 3 days after the big win in Europe midweek, Glasner. Well, he did a lot of rotation for this one, which was nice to see, and obviously it wasn't too detrimental either. Johnson, Pino and Strand Larsen all starting with Lerma and Hughes in midfield. Clearly an eye on the second leg on Thursday and the fact obviously that we're playing again following Monday. Before the game, it was nice. Tyrick Mitchell was celebrated for his 200 league appearances, which when you take into account the fact that he is 26 years old, is quite an achievement, an academy graduate as well. So I think he's now overtaken Zaha on appearances for the club as well.
Oh, wow.
So that just kind of shows you where he's at. Really, really nice to see. And when them sort of things happen before the game, it takes quite a lot to kind of gauge everyone's attention because it's kind of everyone's still kind of walking to the terraces and grabbing their drink or whatever it would be. But the whole stadium was behind Tyrick, which was lovely. Congratulations to Tyrick Mitchell for 200 league appearances. That takes some endurance, doesn't it? So there we go. Right, first half. I think we started well, right? Because Newcastle are going to be they're going to be tough opponents, and we know that. Even though they're not having the greatest of seasons, they started well, and I think as we did, and I think they showed really good quality link-up play at the start of this game. You know, like when a team starts, obviously they did that stupid rugby kickoff thing where they just booted the ball to the other side and everyone was like, why did you do that? But then after that, it was all the link-up and the quick, aggressive passing and pass and move and all that. You know from the offset that you've got a game. which is interesting with Newcastle. I think Pino looked lively from the off, which was nice to see. Some great runs through midfield. He was clearly, he woke up that morning and thought, I'm going to take a few players on today, which was really nice to see. And I think early on, Muniz on the wing, and obviously their wingers as well, were going to have busy days. Lacroix, Canvo and Richards all dealt with the Newcastle threat quite well, I think, early on in that first half. And I wasn't watching this thinking, it's going in. That wasn't where I was at. I was watching this thinking, okay, they're on it. They're attacking it. They're winning all the aerial duels and kind of making quite important blocks along the way. It felt like the old Palace a little bit in that first half.
That's a really good spot. I actually tend to agree with you. Actually, it's something I'd written down on my notes that this seemed like a Palace of sort of end of last season sort of feel, the way that they were playing, the confidence. You can see it starting to come back to it, to the whole squad. And the thing with Newcastle as well, I think when you play Newcastle is, you're going to get in a battle. Like they're a big, strong side, and you're going to have to be strong. And I think Palace were that actually through the whole game. They were really battling them.
Oh, they were. And you could tell the intensity was there throughout the game. I think our first real chance came from Pino, if I tend to remember this correctly. He curled a really nice effort towards the far corner, and Ramsdale, I think, gave him a get-out-of-jail-free card. He made a really, really good save. And then came back again. Muniz followed up after it kind of got patted away, and he made another good save. So kind of twice in about 10 seconds, he kept them in the game. I think the last 10 minutes of that first half were all Palace, and the whole stadium was proper. It was like the old days, mate. I think because obviously the results haven't particularly gone our way in the league, and it's been quite a tough watch for the old Palace faithful. So it was quite nice to see us on the attack, and we had a constant goal threat. Newcastle looked on the ropes, to be brutally honest. Pino's corner found Canvo's header, but we just went just over the bar. And then Muniz came close a little bit later with, I think it was Lewis Hall clearing, pretty much off the line. So it felt a little bit like one of two things were going to happen here, which was it's inevitable we're going to score and we're going to go ahead and it's all going to be wonderful, or it's inevitable that we're never going to score and we're going to regret it later on. And then against the run of play, particularly the latter happened probably, which was that just before half-time, Newcastle decided to showcase a genuinely impressive passing triangle. And I don't know if you saw this. It's the first time in all the years I've had a season ticket at Palace where the people around me, when we conceded a goal at home, all had a little chat and went, that was actually very good. What a lovely goal. And I had to kind of remind everybody that they were the opposition and that we shouldn't be, truthfully celebrating this. But it was
slick, though, wasn't it? It was slick.
Mate, you just knew something was going to happen. It was this kind of moving triangle that just passed around our players, and it weren't through lack of trying. It was just that good.
Yeah.
And the ball resulted into the ball in the box. Lacroix got to it. Fair play to him. He got to it, and then it was one of these ridiculous situations where, because he intercepted the ball, it then just span pretty much on the spot for their striker just to tap it home, albeit sat on the floor.
I mean, I when I saw this goal for the first time, when you see it live, I couldn't quite work out how it had gone in. First of all, I thought, it's an own goal. Then I thought, no, it's gone. No, that's not right. It's gone off the keeper. I couldn't work it out. When you see it, like you say, on the replay, Hurzeler, I mean, it's fair play to the kid, right? He's on the floor. He realises the ball's coming towards him. He lifts his legs up so he can get to the ball with his other foot to put it in. Like, it's very clever and very quick thinking to be able to do that,
Mate, it was a good goal. And annoyingly, that was their first proper attempt on goal.
Right.
It was very much, in my view, biased view, I know, against the run of play. And I think felt very unjust, given our dominance in the game and the amount of chances that we'd had. So, mate, listen, after we'd all appreciated the wonders of Newcastle's goal, the reality kicked in when the half-time whistle went. And once again, after a European game, we were down at half-time.
Yeah.
So, yes, not particularly happy about that. And then, of course, second half comes around. Newcastle come out strong. Early chance from that man again that just scored, who ran in behind. Lacroix did really well, and Henderson did even better, to clear it away.
Mm.
And then came the bit that we all enjoyed at Selhurst Park. We had a period of real dominance again in the game. Pino curling that effort, goal bound, which went just over the crossbar. And then on 65 minutes, this is where the whole game really changed. And I feel a little bit happy about the fact that our good friend Glasner has been not making substitutions, regardless of whether they're needed or required, until at least the 80th or 85th minute.
You've talked so much about this a lot.
So frustrating.
It felt like there was just a formula for when he would make substitutions a lot of the time. And you've talked about that a lot, haven't you?
But I think in his defence, that formula was happening when we had numerous amounts of youth team on the bench who probably, didn't have the ability to change a game. Whereas now, have a look at it. On 65 minutes, he introduced Mateta, Wharton and Sarr. So you then, that's a game-changing trio there. And it did. It changed the game literally instantly. A few minutes later, Mateta won the free kick by hustling, taken by Pino. Lerma hits the crossbar. So that's the second time we've hit in the crossbar in the game already. And then on 80 minutes, that period in between this and 80 minutes, the game kind of lost the edge a little bit. It was, when your mind starts wandering, as opposed to going, come on, you're kind of a bit like, I wonder what the time is.
Well, I think also,
how am I getting home? That kind of thing.
The other thing to consider is it's Newcastle, and they are so annoying when it comes to like time wasting and taking the any sort of joy out of a game. They're very good at it, and to get you to 80 minutes without really creating too many chances after that Lerma, crossbar, they've done really well, and they're very good at that. But you had the last laugh, didn't you? So
well, they are good at that, but also I think from the outsider looking in, for someone who didn't watch the game, say for example, you'd look at this and look at the scoreline, and when the goals were scored, and you'd go, Palace got their stuff together and just about got it over the line in injury time. But the reality of it is that we shouldn't have gone behind in the first place. We should have been 2-0 up in the first half. And I think it was an unlucky situation, which happens in football, right? But I do believe that the correct scoreline happened in the end. If that Newcastle would probably, challenge that. But anyway, on 80 minutes, Camvo got possession. And ran it through what felt like at the time the entire midfield. It was wonderful. Do you remember Gahey when he used to get the ball in defence?
It's funny you say that,
mate.
Like honestly, when I saw that little run, it came to my mind. I was thinking, Andy goes on and on about Mark Gahey doing that sort of stuff. And actually, this is the first time I've seen, I appreciate he's probably done it a few times, but that's the first time I've seen Camvo really, power on through and just keep going. And he done really, really well.
Well, mate, he had a situation, we'll talk about it later, but he had a situation on Thursday night in Europe, and he did exactly the same thing. And the whole stadium, he took it from his own box, and he ended up on the edge of the other box, and the whole stadium was like, shoot! And I think he passed it in the end. But this kid, I love him so much. Yeah. He is an absolute legend. He ran it through the entire midfield, which started and was the catalyst to our big moment. So he put the ball out wide after running it through and beating the people, then went back to Mitchell, and instead of shooting, played it into Mateta, who scored. It was great, and that moment would not have happened unless it were for Camvo going, look, sod this, why are we doing this sideways stuff, why are we trying to build it, let's just go through them, they're not going to be expecting it, and it's great, but you can't do that all the time though, you have to pick your moment. So anyway, Mateta scored his first Premier League goal since New Year's Day.
Right.
He's been injured, hasn't he? And he's been whinging. Then he was injured. Then he whinged a bit more. Now he's back.
Right. I'm going to put stick a pin in that. I want to talk about Mateta at the end of this. All right. We need to talk about that. But look, 1-1. That's 10 minutes to go plus injury time. Yeah. Like you're on a roll, aren't you?
Newcastle kind of was like, no, we're not having this. And I guess probably the best way to describe this would be an aerial bombardment, I think, for the last 10 minutes. But I didn't really feel sat there watching it that we were going to concede, because, like when your defence are standing firm, and every ball that comes in, and they were going for the long balls, you're chipping it over all the other bits and pieces, but we were the first ones to the ball. You've got Camvo, you've got Lacroix, you got Richards. All three of them were just units for that game, and it just felt like they were in control of it. We stood firm. They fought hard for every ball, intensity, which is what we used to have, mate. But obviously, when you're playing 3 games a week, that wears off a little bit, doesn't it? But anyway, the final whistle was looming, and Chris Richards then puts a long throw into the box, right? Sven Botman decides not just to pull Lerma's shirt, but try and remove it completely. If you have a look at the replay, he proper went for it. And I'll be honest with you, what a schoolboy error, because everybody pulls shirts, but he did not let go. Which was the mistake there.
I agree. I think, it's really weird, isn't it? Because it's like these sort of decisions, the pulling of shirts in penalty boxes and stuff, like it happens all the time, right? And it doesn't get given. Suddenly now, this one gets given. And don't get me wrong, actually. I agree the rules are the rules, and he shouldn't have done that, and it's a penalty. I completely agree with the referee. I think it's the right decision. I just find the inconsistencies, this sort of like situation where, because Botman, you could almost read the lips that he was, what he was saying. He was like, everyone does it. It's like, yeah, exactly, everyone does it. So why now have you decided in the 90th
Because he didn't
minute?
let go, Neil. Because this is the point. That is genuinely the point. Because and here's honesty from me and everyone that I was sat with in the game. We obviously didn't get the close-up view of that, right? So we just saw it and went, he's gone down, right? And which is what everybody does, given the fact that you're in extra time. And all of a sudden, I mean, the ref immediately pointed to the spot because he did it pretty much in front of him. It was just really proper obvious. Stupid. It was proper stupid. And I think if he'd have let go a second earlier, that wouldn't have been a penalty. But given the fact that he did genuinely impede a goal-scoring opportunity because Lerma got pulled to the floor. So anyway, penalty awarded. And another humorous thing happened, which the whole stadium genuinely enjoyed, which was that Ramsdale decides then, whilst VAR are checking the penalty, Ramsdale decides then to walk from his. So Mateta's there with the ball on the penalty spot waiting. Sure. Everyone else is arguing and pushing at the edge of the box and just being annoying. And then Ramsdale, like, that's all happening in front of him. He then walks past everybody and goes and has a chat with the coaches in the technical box. And then the referee, he's expecting a long VAR. The referee's like that. Nah, penalty. I've already given it. Why are we arguing about this? It's a penalty. And then all of a sudden, the referee's like looking for the keeper, going, "Where are you? Where are you?" Realises he's sat having a chat, probably trying to work out where Mateta's going to hit it. And then whilst Ramsdale then gets called back over, gets a yellow card for his troubles before he's even stood against the penalty.
He gave him a yellow card.
He gave him a yellow. Well, he just disappeared. He just walked off. Walked off, Neil. So he got a yellow card, much to the delight of everybody. And then, of course, I guess it was worth him going over because whoever told him which way to dive, he picked the right way. But obviously, Mateta was just too good for him, right? Because there ain't no striker better than Jean-Philippe Mateta. And in terms of penalties, he's got it going on at the moment, and he hit it bang bottom right corner, even though obviously Ramsdale, bless him, he tried to get there, but he didn't get anywhere near it. And another corner flag goes flying. So there we go. So then, of course, absolute scenes at Selhurst Park, which was lovely. And scenes that I thought I hadn't seen in a while. Boom, boom, boom. Mateta's in the room. We haven't sung that all together in the chorus of the Homesdale for a while, which was lovely to hear. And of course, the other lovely thing, Neil, is that we've jumped above Newcastle in the league now. So I think we're in 13th now. Unlucky for some. We just sat there for a little while waiting until our game in hand could get arranged, and then we'd be back up there. So still on, mate. Europe on 2 fronts, still on.
Okay.
It's not even a joke.
All right. Fair enough. If you honestly think you can get to Europe in the league, good luck to you.
I think it's still on for quite a few people, to be fair.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Definitely. Yeah. We will have a look at that table in a minute. It's a little close.
Yeah.
The thing I want to talk about, Jean-Philippe Mateta, as you just brought him up again. He's obviously the star of the show on Sunday. So what's going on there then? Like, no one loved him. Everyone hated him. He wanted to leave. He then couldn't leave because in the January transfer window, he had a few mishaps with some medicals. theoretically, people weren't happy to invest some money in his possible knee injury that might have been longer term, I think it was. He's now come back fit as a fiddle, maybe. Probably still leaving at the end of the season. He came back originally with boos, but now he's scoring goals. Everyone's happy. Is that pretty much it? Or how do you feel towards him?
I don't think you have to either love or hate anybody. I think in football, there is the pantomime that tells you that you're either with or against. And I think that if anybody wears that shirt, I will support them. Presuming they don't do anything, to me myself. I'm game.
Yeah.
But I think the comedic thing was that obviously he scored midweek, right? And then everyone was like, "Oh, yeah, God."
Begrudging.
Yeah. So there was kind of a bit of a and then his little boom for the corner flag midweek was a bit of a dulled down version of it, but everyone was still very happy.
Yeah.
And then obviously when he scored the first one on Sunday, he got a rapturous applause, and I kind of went, "Oh yeah." And then when the penalty went in, I turned to the random guy that I do pleasantries to that sits next to me. We don't overindulge in conversations. It's hello, you're right, yeah, good. I turned around to my mate and went, yeah, so I think I forgive him now. It took 3 goals for me to fully come round to Mateta. 2, I was nearly there. The third one, I'm in. And I think, mate, look, ultimately, he's going, isn't he, right? But he's still a Palace player. We're still paying for his services. You have to forget, this is still a business. You're paying for someone's services, right? And he needs to deliver them services. And from my perspective, I'm contributing to that as a season ticket holder. I'm expecting him to perform. He's performing, and he's still a cheeky chappy. I still, and ultimately, right, I think the beef that a lot of people had with him was not just because he put that emoji of, "Oh, why can't I leave?" thing. It was also about the fact that there was quite a few performances where he looked like he wasn't trying, right?
Yeah.
He's come back into the team. He's played 2 games. Clearly, he's trying, right? Because he clearly wants to go to the World Cup with France, all the other bits and pieces. I don't care, just like with Glasner, I don't care whether they're in it for themselves or whether they're in it for the team, as long as they're in it and they're trying. Yeah. I don't care what their individual outcomes are. I just want people to try for the football club that I support, and it looks like he is. If he wants to go somewhere, actually, look at it from a factual point of view, Neil. If he tries, and if he's scoring goals, his value goes up, as opposed to 2 weeks ago, he failed a medical and he ain't worth nothing, right? So it's good for the football club regardless. But how can you... It's same with Glasner. How can you wipe out all them years of greatness and everything he did for us last year and all the goals he scored? Just because he got the ump because he didn't get his own weight. We all get the ump, mate. I have bad days at work. It's not, it's not worth hating on the guy. Hopefully he does it in a bit. I think hopefully he's learned a lesson. Although he did have a little bit of an inappropriate cuddle with a reporter. Did you see that?
Well, I mean, the reporter did come out and say, "I have no problem with it at all." He was very comfortable in the interview, and it was just a nice moment because everyone had won and everyone was happy. So I think if the reporter was fine with it, then everyone else should. I know
it was a brave move. It was a brave move from him, I think, to do that, though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's him all over, right? He's got probably not got many boundaries, but there we go. 3 points, and in our fourth league position now, with playing 1 game less than everybody else, we're still all right. We're still all right
against Man City.
Mate, not worried about that. Beat them before.
So okay. Well, look. In all seriousness, I was shocked by the result, but well done. That was a good win, and you are a little bit now. Are you back, Andy? Would you say, like, with the squad and the confidence and everything? Would you call yourselves back?
Well, I mean, we've had the best opportunity to come back, haven't we? We've had a break, and lots of people have come back. I mean, Gessan's now injured, who wasn't before, which is annoying because he looks really, really good midweek. But look, I think we are. I think we're annoyingly we're now going through another period of fixtures that are going to come thick and fast because of the midweek games and the fact of Europe still. So look, I mean, ultimately, where are we now? Right, what have we got? 7 games to go.
6 now. Well, you've got 7. Sorry, yeah.
7 games to go. We're gonna end up playing 60 games this season. If we get into the final, right? 58 or whatever if we don't. and it's going to be a hell of a journey. And all I'd say is I think an achievement would be winning the cup, right? Absolutely, which we'll talk about later. But I think that it will be lovely to try and make a push as a backup plan, because when you look at our history, mate, you look at Glasnow's teams. Glasnow's teams don't normally win 2, lose 1, draw 1, win 2, lose 1, draw 1. They normally win 12, lose 12, or whatever it would be. Their runs start forming, and I'm just hoping that we've come to form right at the last ditch end of the season, ready for this last season showdown. Because technically speaking, mate, that's 2 games now since the international break, two good wins, and actually Newcastle game would imply that it wasn't a convincing win. I'd say that actually we could have made it easier, but I was quite happy with that performance, genuinely. I'm genuinely happy with that. So, yeah, are we back? I think we might be, mate. Let's see on Thursday if we lose 4-0.
Should we move on? Should we talk about another team?
Yeah, so you played Burnley, is it?
It's a
Burnley
tough place
that you
to go,
played?
Turf Moor. It's a tough place to go.
Yeah, their league position would tell you that.
Look, we all know how poor Burnley are. But do you know what? The only concern I had, I think, going into this game was one, that we had a couple of absentees. So obviously Hurzeler was suspended from managing on the touchline. He had a touchline ban. Dunk was suspended as well. So 2 big sort of leaders in that sense. That was a little bit of a concern, obviously. And the other concern that I had was the fact that, pretty much like Palace would have had the same concern like most teams. You come back after a big, long international break, plus the break for the FA Cup as well. It was 3+ weeks. It's a long time. And you just wonder...
You never know what's going to rock up, do you?
No,
you
exactly.
never know what's going to rock up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So look, let me go through the game then. So to sort of,
I guess, sorry, Neil, to interrupt. I reckon that you had a lot of internationals in your team, though, didn't you? Right?
Huge amount.
And we had a decent amount as well. And I do think that the teams that have got the international players, whilst they haven't had a rest, they haven't got tired, they haven't fully relaxed. They've kept up the pace. Yeah. And I do think that's a bit of an advantage, actually.
Yeah, it depends how their minutes are managed, I think, on internationals. But you're absolutely right. I mean, Matoma played 90 minutes overall in 2 games. Yeah. So he played an hour, Scotland and England. Yari qualified with Sweden for the World Cup. Ferdi Kayolu scored the winner for Turkey to get them to the World Cup as well. So he was buzzing. There was a few of those players in there. And you've got a point. It's, as long as their minutes are managed, I think you're absolutely right. They're staying in form. So the good news is that I didn't have to worry too much. As you pointed out, it was only Burnley, which always helps. Lineups came out, 2 changes, one which was expected, as I said, because obviously Dunk was suspended. So that was replaced by Boscali. He came in at the back. Milner was the one that wasn't expected. So he picked up a small issue in training.
Bless him.
So we all
he needs a rest, man. He's old.
Exactly. As always, the comms come out. It's like, it's just a small knock. It's like, it's probably season ending then.
No, at his age, it's called a fall.
He's got his little button around his thing. It's fine. So he was replaced by Yasin Ayari, the Swedish international, into midfield. And apart from that, everything else was normal. Service was resumed. So we started off okay. We had the first sort of probably big opportunity, 4 minutes in. There was an early chance for Danny Welbeck where Yankuba Minte got free on the left-hand side and put in an early cross again, basically something we've seen quite a lot over the last few weeks, very similar to the one that he put in for Liverpool, except this was a little bit of a lower sort of cross. And Welbeck got onto the end of it, but couldn't quite control it. Sort of got over the ball and it sort of just bounced and bobbled back to the goalkeeper. So a half chance, but early chance, hopefully giving us more opportunities for the rest of the game. And I was very hopeful after that, but then literally 1 minute later, Burnley go up the other end and Jadon Anthony tucks away a through ball and puts it in the back of the net. And I'm like, how has this happened? Like, what's happened here? The goal Well, this was a strange one, right? Because I've got a point. Did you see the goal, the non, the disallowed goal? Did you actually see the first one for
Well, in
Burnley?
between jumping up and down and celebrating it, yeah, I watched it.
I'm
Yeah.
sure you did, because it was a real head scratcher, right, mate? Because VAR got involved. They had judged it to be that he was offside, but it doesn't make a lot of sense because when you see the what do you call it, like the semi-automated 3D image, I suppose is what you call it. You know, that rendered image that they show you, where they show like the bit of line. I'll put it up on the screen now, where they show the bit of line where the bodies are over the line or offside or onside. Well,
Mm.
the only thing offside in this image is Jadon Anthony's arm. And as far as I can
It
see,
wasn't offside, mate.
he wasn't offside then. If that's a true rend, like, it was really confusing, right? So it's about up to about here. So unless they're going to give a goal that strikes up here, which, let's be honest, officially, I suppose that is true, but they won't do that in reality. If something comes off an arm here, they'll give that as handball. So you can't have it both ways. Like, look, don't get me wrong. I'm happy that we didn't concede a goal and we got lucky, but it was a very strange image. And that's the thing that I think you need to concern yourself, that if it was truly offside and it didn't hit that, it wasn't that part of the body, it was a bit more, but the image is wrong, then fine. But we need to correct it because somewhere along the line, that doesn't
Yeah,
make
yeah.
sense.
No, mate, I'm totally agreeing. It's a mess again, isn't it? It's a mess again. A bit like when we had a situation where someone's nose was offside and things like this. I mean, there's
But
just got
Andy,
to be
you
a better.
can score a goal with a nose. You can't score a goal with an arm, and that was what was so
Well,
weird.
again, technically though, Neil, I mean, it's one of them. Technically you can score a goal with your shoulder,
Yeah,
can't
I
you?
suppose so.
So
It was strange.
and this is the point of it, which is all we can hope and pray is that they know and have seen more than what we've seen.
Yeah, exactly.
Because if they're armed with what we've seen, then that is a questionable decision,
Yeah,
and
it
you
is
should
one.
have been
And
1-0 down, and that would have changed the whole game. And bless little Burnley,
I'm
they
not.
might have been happy once, you know.
Well, I'm not sure it would change the whole game, but I get your point completely.
Well,
And
it
and
would if they'd have gone 1-0 up. That would have changed the whole game, right?
it was 5 minutes in, and I'm not sure it would have changed the result, but yeah, it would have changed the game. Um,
Mm.
that moment happened, so it was a bit of a warning sign. And Burnley, obviously, they're in a situation where they're trying to win the game. They've got to do something, even though it's going to be a miracle if they get out of this. Mathematically, they've still got to go and try and win every game. And I think, if I'm honest, that probably helped Brighton a little bit because the game was quite open in that sense. They gave it a good go, and I think it just gave Albion a bit of more space, a bit more opportunity to do their passing moves and do what they do. And Albion created a handful of really good chances in that first half, and realistically probably should have scored a couple, 3 at least. They were really good quality chances, I think, and we just didn't quite have either the finishing or it didn't quite bounce in the right way. We did finally get our reward for a very positive half, I would say, on 42 minutes, which
Okay.
was it was a really good move. Good work from Minte again and Buscagli on the left-hand side to sort of recycle the ball back, winning it back off Burnley. And Buscagli, because what was interesting, right, for the whole game, and I'll get to it a bit more later, but the left side was clearly our tactic to sort of use as the main point of attack. And because Buscagli is so good with the ball and he's naturally left-footed, it gave Kadioglu and Minte more license to get forward in that sense. And I think Buscagli's ball down the line to Minte right on the edge of the touchline, passes the ball sort of down the wing further for Gross to get onto the end of, and he drives a low cross, sort of pulls it back behind the on-rushing attackers and the defenders that are going back. So it goes into that space just around the penalty spot. And lo and behold, for some reason, Mateta Wieffer turns up, our right back, runs into the box late, and there he is to make it a really tidy finish, 1-0 to the Albion. And, great finish, and no less than we deserved, if I'm honest, for the half. I thought it was a really lovely little goal.
I think that was his first goal in 16 months.
Yes, so he's only his second ever goal in the Premier League. He scored West Ham away last season. But, playing right back, you don't expect him to do that. But he's definitely been playing more attacking recently. I think I've talked about it before, where he sort of comes into midfield and fills in the holes where other players have moved on. Well, actually, against Burnley, he was bombing past people. And this was a really good example of that. So, yeah, look, 1-0 up, just almost half time. But actually, just before half time, we had another really, really good chance as well. And then if anything, that was probably a better quality chance where Gross, again on the left-hand side, the ball comes to Gross, who's peeled off to the left-hand side, but this time he sort of pushes it back onto his right-hand side and sort of does a curling over to the far post cross. Tactic that we've seen so much at Albion over the last few weeks. Far post, Gomez heads it back across, and Welbeck is there a yard out, and you can't believe he's not going to get onto the end of it. But the defender, to be fair to them, gets a little touch on the ball and just takes it away from him. And that if he got touched on that 2-0, I think that would have been game over already then at that moment anyway. But it just didn't quite go in, and so you're ending the half thinking, oh man, are we going to rue those chances? Which is something I've said a lot this season. It's like
I think Hinshelwood was close to that one as well, wasn't he?
He was, he got his little head on it.
Go. Neither of them could get it over the line. But look, it's a good place to be though when you're pushing for 2 just before half time.
Yeah,
it's a warning shot for the second half, isn't it?
And I think that's the thing. Something we've noticed a lot. This run that we've been on, the majority of the time we've scored early. We've had the opportunity, we've taken it, and I think that gives us a completely different outlook on the game as then we go to try and manage it. And that was the case really for this game in the second half. I think it was more of the same, but you probably have to say that Burnley, obviously, trying to get back into it, pushed more in that first sort of like 15, 20 minutes of the second half. And I mean, actually, their next big opportunity came literally, I think it was 48, 49 minutes. They get a free kick on the wing. They sling in across. The ball's pushed out by Verbruggen, who sort of, because it's in swinging. He doesn't really make a big contact on it, and it just dribbles in front of Humphreys, who taps it in. And again, it's like, oh no, we've dropped one here. But VAR come to our rescue yet again. And this time,
in a blue and white shirt.
As well. I mean, this time, the VAR, when you look at the picture on this one, I mean, okay, it's a knee that's offside. So therefore, I'm happy. Okay, it's a clear decision as to why. But you have to also feel sorry for Burnley slightly because the amount of knee, the amount of flesh that is offside is possibly 2 centimetres. I mean, how they can make this decision on things like that. I'm really not sure, but it was a very close one. And yet again, I'm sitting there thinking, wow, got away with one there again, and I can hear Albion fans telling me that, offside's offside. It's like, it is, I get it, but it's still very close call,
I mean, it's how they can be that confident that 2 centimetres, if it was even that, couldn't be that accurate in terms of where they've drawn that line and what pixel they've used and frame that they've used to do it. Do you know what I mean? That's the bit that I question, and whether it's even good for the game to, there was 2 genuinely good goals there that could have been given someone picking a different frame to go, this is the one, and that would have been a completely different game, mate, and you would have been banging trouble against Burnley, wouldn't you? Banging trouble.
But Andy, we weren't. We were still 1-0 up, and if I'm honest, Albion, when it got to about 60 odd minutes, Albion started to sort of take over the game again more. And I think for the first first hour of that game, we were very much in control with a little bit of Burnley. But the last half an hour, although Burnley sort of huffed and puffed a lot, I think Brighton was still really much, quite a lot in control. I didn't feel worried that we were going to concede a goal, if I'm honest. There was the odd little shot here or there, but nothing clear cut,
And if you did, VAR would have ruled it out anyway.
Yeah, well, so exactly. Right. They were on our side on Saturday, which was lovely for a change. And Albion did get one big opportunity about 65 minutes in, I think it was. Good shot from Hinshelwood that Dubravka sort of pushed away, curling little shot into the box, into the corner, sorry. But Dubravka, to be fair to Dubravka, he played well on the weekend. He had lots to do, and he did what he needed. And he was a good goalkeeper at Newcastle. He's still doing well at Burnley.
Yeah, he is.
The thing that really, I think, probably made the difference over the whole game was, you get to sort of 60, 70, 80 minutes, the time's ticking on, people are getting tired, legs are getting tired. Albion then have the opportunity to make changes, and from their bench, they can bring on Matoma, Baleba, Jorginho, and Veltman. And it's like that makes such a difference to have a fit squad, and I think that just refreshed the team completely. And to be fair, that's really what happened. Really, when they came on, they've got their own places to be fighting for now, and you can see it in them. The energy is high when they come on because they want to make sure they're starting next week. Particularly someone like Jorginho Rutter, who's not had a great season, and he's been very up and down this season, and he came on the pitch and he was running a lot. He was working hard, and I think that's a really good sign for us. And he was the one that actually was the catalyst for the goal because he ran down a Burnley defender, and it was 88 minutes on the clock. So Jorginho tackles and wins the ball back, as I say, high up. Veltman, who came on not to go right back. Wieffer stayed at right back, but Veltman's playing like right wing. I mean, obviously, why would you not put a right back at right back? Crosses to the far post, Veltman does, and it sort of jiggles about a bit. Matoma gets it, Gross gets it, Matoma gets it back, he cuts into the box, and then he lays it back to the edge of the box. And guess who's there? Our old mate Mateta Wieffer again, deciding, you know what, I quite fancy a little jaunt up to the penalty box. And this time, the shot is a fantastic finish. It's a side-footed, really powerful pass, I suppose, low-driven pass into the bottom of the net. I mean, I don't even know how to...
It's not a striker's goal, is it?
It's not. It's like a really hard pass, but it's beautiful, and he puts it in the back of the net. And game done.
It's like, do you know, like when you go to the fun fair and you got that kind of kicking game where you've got to get it in the holes?
Yes.
The football it felt a bit like that, but with power.
Yeah, it was a lovely little finish. It really was. And, I'm really pleased for him. He's had a really great sort of last 10 games where he's come back into the side. And it's no coincidence, I don't think, that him coming back into the side has also coincided with our really good form. I don't like him at right back, but in the way that we're playing, when we have the ball, he is an excellent outlet, and he is very good defensively in midfield when he cuts in and stuff. Still, he's a little bit suspect still, 1-to-1, I think, on a fast winger, like a lot of defenders are, because you can just see he's still not quite... He's not a right back, he's not had that years of experience of playing that position, but he's getting better and better at it. So, it's good news for us, I think. He's definitely a shining light at the moment. So, yeah, look, game is done really at that point. 88 minutes, no nervy injury time either, which is lovely. And I suppose in summary, what I would say about the game is Albion were good, not great, I'd say. We were solid, strong as well overall, which was very important, I think. We obviously had a bit of luck, but we also had the quality when it really mattered, I think, as well. And I suppose the other thing to point out, as I sort of alluded to earlier, is the last few weeks, and it's cemented it even more this week. I think it was really a lot clearer than any other week, which is that we have a very clear tactic currently of using our left side as the catalyst for any sort of attack, where you've got Kadioglu at left back, you've got Minte on the left wing. And you've got Kadioglu running up and basically running inside of Minte. So he's taking defenders away. And then you've got Pascal Gross coming across all the time. So if anybody can't get a ball in, they're getting it back to Gross. And between the three of them, they're just working out really, really well. And they seem to always create something between the three of them, one way or the other. So it's working. We don't want to change it. Let's leave it. Let's just not tinker anymore, Fabian. You've done a good job. Let's get us to this point. So for me, Go on.
Sorry, no, I was just going to say I do feel like like you were talking about your identity and what's
Yeah.
the Fabian way and all this kind of stuff, and I do feel like there's now a bit of a. I mean, look, you've won, what is it, 5 out of your last 6 now, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's sickening me.
Beautiful.
5 out of your last 6, and I think again in this game. Granted, it was against Burnley, but in this game, I think you did. I think you played with discipline. I think you pressing high up the pitch and making that possession count, certainly in midfield as well. I feel like that is starting to form a little bit of an identity, the Hurzeler way. So,
Do you know
and
what,
as you
mate?
say, utilising that left side as well. I don't know. I feel like there's starting to be a little bit of a way of doing things now. Now you're starting to win. You can see it.
But I think that's the point, that because things are working, you can see now what he's trying to do. And I think I don't think he's changed his tactics too much. I think he's made one change, whether that be by luck or by skill, I don't know. But the one change of putting Minte on the left and having that natural left-sided width out there that doesn't cut in, that doesn't make the pitch small, stays out. I think that's something that's made a big difference. Minte is very hit and miss. He's a great player to watch, but I can imagine he's a little bit of a manager's nightmare at the same time sometimes, because he's very up and down with his quality sometimes. And I think when you look at the rest of the team over the period where we were losing compared to the period where we are now winning, the major differences are that left-hand side and experience has come into the team more. The one thing I would say, which was my last point on this game, which sort of plays into this, is that Pascal Gross has made such a big difference to this side. Don't forget, he came in January. It took him a few games. It wasn't instant, but he was man of the match again for me on Saturday. Even though Wieffer scored 2 goals, he was still my man of the match. He created so much. He was in the right place. You could see the talking on the pitch and just the quality. He did not put a pass wrong. And when someone made a lazy pass or something like, he absolutely gave them 10 bells. He really did. And he made sure that they understood this is not the level, And so, for me, those type little changes are there. And you're right, mate. I think we can start to see now what he's trying to do, Fabian Hurzeler, the style that he's got.
I mean, mate, look, you've come a long way since you last played Burnley, right? Because if you think about back when you last played Burnley in January, I think you hadn't won a game in 13 league games, right? And I think it's very apparent now that where are you now? I think you are within reach, because obviously you've got 3 points from that game in hand that we haven't. You're in reach of the top 6. You are. You're not too far away. You're keeping up with them.
We're in 9th position, but like you said, mate, it's such a tight league at the moment. We are 5 wins in last 6, 46 points. And that's only, I mean, if you look at the league as a whole, there's 6 points between 6th place and 14th place. I mean, that is absolutely crazy.
The only real shelf that is there is from 14th to 15th. There's now that 9-point gap, which opened up, and that only opened up kind of since January. But it is. I mean, this is the thing, that even now there could still be some shockers. Tell Arsenal that. But there could still be some shockers, because all it takes is you to lose 2 games in a row or to not have a friendly fixture list coming up. Because and this is why, jokes aside, I look at the Palace situation, and yes, I know our game in hand is Man City, but I'm hoping we'll play them after they've won the league. But I do actually think that might happen. But I don't know. I look at our fixture list and I kind of think to myself, actually, you get yourself on a little run now, which we have. Every one of them is winnable.
Let's have a look then. Hang on. Let me have a quick nosy at Palace. So you've got West Ham in the league.
Winnable.
So as I say, you've got the Man City game that's just outstanding. We don't know when that's going to be, but you've got West Ham at home. So you're right. That you should win that one. Liverpool away, hit and miss. You don't know what Liverpool.
You can beat
Liverpool
these days.
Yeah, I agree. But
they don't like playing us either.
Let's be realistic. Let's say they don't win that one, but then
you've got a draw.
You've got Bournemouth away. You've got Everton at home. Everton are a difficult side to beat. Brentford. I mean, you've got do you know what? Crystal Palace can decide a hell of a lot about what goes on this year in this season.
Well, who have we got at the end?
Yeah, I've just looked, and you've got Arsenal last day of the season, and you know, all the teams that are fighting for Europe. You've got Bournemouth, Everton, Brentford. So yeah, right. Like, if you can win these games, you're taking points off all of those people
above us, which technically is. I mean, it's not a 6 point because there's no such thing, but they're not gaining. We are. Do you get what I mean? So they'd be moving down. So yeah, honestly, there is no way that it is absolutely within our reach. We just look like we're in a worse situation at the moment because we played one less game, and I understand that. But
yeah. I mean, when a couple of weeks back we were talking about the league position and what gets Europe and things, and I maintain my point that I think 58 points is the number. I think that's where you need to get to. Any team, I think anyone gets 58 points, I think you'll be fine for Europe. You may get less than that, but 58, I think is the number.
I think it might be less. But
so if I look at Brighton from that perspective, then we need 12 points. So we need 4 wins out of 6, the last 6 games. That's tough, but
who have you got?
We've got Spurs, and hopefully we'll get them still a little early before our ex-girlfriend does the do.
Isn't that I'm going to say your old manager's there. I mean, he's going to want to get one over. Mate, wouldn't it be awful if Spurs win their first league game this year against you?
Oh, I think any Brighton fan would understand that is a very real possibility. I think Dr. Brighton could open their surgery again. That's definitely not out of a realm of possibility, mate.
Hey, that'd be awful.
But yeah, look, even if we get a point there and somehow, Spurs turn up or something. The other games that we've got Leeds, we've got Man United last day of the season, which is going to be fun.
No, because
they'll be on the beach.
All out for that.
I think they'll be on the beach. For me, I just look at it and think, 6 games, and if I look at it, the big ones coming up, Spurs and Chelsea, they're the 2 big ones that are coming up, right? And that's the ones that I think any Brighton fan, we can win Spurs and Chelsea in the same week. Oh, that will be lovely to see. And then after that, we've got a difficult trip to Newcastle. We've got Wolves at home, which, let's be honest, we should win that one. And then Leeds away, Man United at home to end. So I look at it as well and go, it's doable, it's doable.
I'll be honest with you, speaking unbiasedly, I'd say that out of that lot, I think you potentially have got 9 points.
I agree.
There.
I agree. I think
8 or 9.
If we can pull out an extra win against a big boy, I think we've got a good chance. And we'll see. We'll see. But the nice thing is that we've got to the end of this season with 6 games to go, and same with Palace, 7 games to go, and we're both still in it for something. We're in something.
Oh, mate, absolutely. Abso-flipping-lutely.
Yeah.
And the irony is, wouldn't it be so funny if Palace end up having a push for Europe and we didn't need it?
That is so Palace.
Well, that would be the most Palace thing ever, right? First time we get actually qualify for Europe properly, and then we wouldn't need it. And then, ironically, probably he'll end up dropping down to Brighton, get the place or something like that. Do you know what I mean? It's just there's these storybooks that just are written before they happen, aren't they? But anyway, let's see. I think there's a long way to go because I think, as you say, mate, this year, if you have a look at that table, show me another season where there's been so many people competing for European spaces. It's normally done and dusted with 2 people, 3 people competing, and it's normally your normal suspects. You've got promoted team competing for Europe right now. I mean, it's insane.
Yeah. So, Andy, I think it's probably time we have a little chat about Crystal Palace's European journey that unfortunately still continues on. To my despair, I was really thinking this is the one. You face an Italian side at home. They're going to come up with a low block, the Italian natural style, and they're going to beat you on the counter, and they're going to do a Palace over you and, come up with some 2 late goals and writhe around on the floor and time. No, none of that, was it?
Well, you couldn't be more wrong, Neil, because I think that you've been wanging on from the start of this how we're the favourites to win it, and I'm the one that's been saying, "Hang on a minute, we're struggling to beat Larnaca and all the other teams, right? They've got a low block." Because
but now
that's not our team, right? We can't beat them kind of teams, yeah? Like Palace are the ones that have, the bottom 3 in the Premier League are taking points off of us, right? So, but we line up against the likes of, Chelsea, Man City, Liverpool. I actually fancy us more, right, because of our style of play. Now we're in the competition and we're in the quarterfinals of the Conference League, right? I actually feel that now and only now have I actually started Googling how do I get tickets to the final, right? Because I actually now believe that because we're
Yeah.
playing teams that actually want to play us.
Yeah.
And Fiorentina, when you think about the way that they set up for this game, yes, when we had the ball, they went into a tight block at the back, but uh, they were breakable. They were breakable because they wanted to come at us at the same time. Does that make sense? Whereas Larnaca were quite happy to just sit there and have 2 or 3 attempts on goal at the whole game, say for example. Whereas this was a contest that they wanted to win, and I think that from this point forward in the competition, we're going to be playing people who want to try and beat us, and therefore, actually, presuming that we can keep some people fit, I do think we've got a very good chance. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to put a statement out there, mate. I think this was one of the greatest ever nights at Selhurst Park on Thursday night.
What?
Well, think about it, mate. We've never been in a proper European competition, right? So if you obviously you've got the FA Cup run, which was technically our greatest ever achievement, which happened at Wembley, right? We are now on our way. This is the quarterfinals of a big European competition. I know you say big and all that, but it's a European competition, a European Cup, right? And we just beat a team that had. I mean, look, their record was it 10 wins out of 11 European quarterfinals?
Yeah, good point. Yeah,
right. And I think it's our biggest test in Europe so far, right?
Yeah.
And mate, we smashed them. We absolutely smashed them convincingly.
Yeah.
And so I think that statement of was it our biggest ever night in Selhurst Park? I think it probably was. Like it was it's history. Like it so much so that on the way in you go, am I buying the programme today? Yes, I am, because this could be the game that everyone talks about. Do you know what I mean? You want that memento. Anyway, it was our first game in 3 weeks at that point since beating Larnaca. So to put that into perspective, we had 2 European games back to back. Right, no Premier League game in the middle. 3 changes to the team that beat Larnaca. Henderson back in goal because he's not poorly anymore. He's all right now. So his illness is over. Muniz coming back from injury, and Mateta was back in the starting 11 because Strand Larsen was suspended for being a naughty boy and getting too many yellow cards in the competition. The atmosphere at Selhurst Park was superb. It was superb. Like you know, and I'm sure you probably get this at the Amex, but you kind of go in from the concourse, you open the doors to the stadium, and you know pretty instantly whether that stadium's up for it on that game, and it was, right. Yeah. I got there probably 20 minutes. I walked in 20 minutes before kickoff. I think we were all quite nervous about it, but there was an air of excitement because I think a lot of that stadium had similar thoughts to me, which was, right, now this is actually a game of football that we're going to want to watch and that we have actually got a chance to win, which is ridiculous, right? Against when you talk about the other teams. But anyway, the Homestyle display, did you see this?
I did. This was very good, to be fair. This was very good.
Superb. It was superb. Right. So obviously they did it wasn't, I wouldn't really describe it as a tifo. They did a banner all the way along the front of the Homestyle stand, which was great, right? But then instead what they decided to do was give out, I think the technical term for it is ticker tape. It's actually what it's called. Although everyone in the news thought it was toilet roll that we were throwing, but it wasn't. It was ticker tape. And so every single seat had ticker tape, right? A little roll of it. And if you can imagine the damage that I don't think anyone really thought this through in terms of the fact that I think when it was thought about, I think they thought, oh, that'd be brilliant, right? Because everyone in the top tier will throw it down, and then the back of the bottom tier will throw it down, and then it will end up at the front, and then someone, Clive or whatever his name is in the suit, would walk along and just scoop it all up, and it'd be great, right?
Yeah.
What they'd forgotten to think about was the fact that there was gale force winds in Selhurst, and it was flipping freezing. Like the sun, the sun had just gone in, it got dark, but the wind was howling, right?
I did feel like they'd given the health and safety man the week off or something, because
mate,
I was a bit surprised by it. But hey, look, it added, didn't it, to the atmosphere and the effect.
Oh, the videos of that all happening, and the Glad all over playing, and then all of a sudden, the mascots, the players, and the officials walk out from the tunnel just as all of this ticker tape isn't going directly downwards, it's blowing heavily to the left all at one go. And then who gets hit with the most of it? The referee. And then all of a sudden you've got like the referee and these poor, like, I don't know, 5-year-old kids who are wading through like knee deep in ticker tape as they're trying to get onto the pitch.
Very funny.
And of course, not only that, they're walking it onto the pitch. Right?
Yeah.
So
it was proper 1978 World Cup. It really was.
Mate,
like it was classic.
It was everywhere. And then the funniest thing was, without going on about this too much, was that there was no afterthought from his typical Palace. There was no afterthought about, right, what happens now? Like, how do we get all this off the pitch? And then there was one poor bloke who's clearly, I don't know, is he pitch security or whatever? We'll call him Clive, right?
Yeah.
Clive was the only person who was clearly allowed on the pitch. And then poor old Clive had to come on. And it was brilliant because Clive was picking it all up. And he was covered in it all, right? And then no sooner as he picked a bit up, another bit fell off of him. And so everyone in the stadium was just like, are we just going to sit here and watch him for the next? And the referee's like that. You know, we ain't starting the game until it's all gone. And not one of the players decided to go and help either. It was just one of them brilliant moments where I think hindsight, Selhurst Park needs to have a bit of a backup plan if stuff like that's going to happen in the future. And then the other funny thing was, I don't know if you noticed, but at half time, the Hurzeler lot thought it'd be brilliant to annoy David De Gea and throw it all back onto his goal just as they were coming out for half time.
Nice.
And it all got properly embedded in the goal net and everything. And guess what happened? We didn't learn from it. Poor old Clive had to come back again, didn't he? And he had the same situation all over again. But one of their defenders helped.
Clive is really earning his money that week, isn't he?
He's had a nightmare. He's had a nightmare. But what great scenes. And it's one of them ones, I think, where you look back at the video on your phone that you took from the stands and go, that was special. You know, that was nice. Anyway, right. What happened? First half, after what was an immediate attack from Fiorentina, where Chris Richards made quite an important early block, actually. After that point, we played some of the best football I've seen, I think, this season. It was lovely. We played with confidence, intensity, composure. It was just nice to see, mate. It felt like the defenders were up for it. We were up for the attack. We weren't scared to go at them. The atmosphere was just wonderful. Muniz had quite a few early chances to assist. He set up Mateta for a great chance, which Mateta just couldn't reach. It was one of the ones where it was like, oh no. And then Gesand kind of ended up with this dangerous ball from Muniz, which just kind of went straight across, only for Gesand just to prod it just wide. So, I mean, even within the first 20 minutes, we could have been 2-0 up. And then on 20 minutes, Sarr ran at the defence, played in Gesand, who hit it just wide. That Sarr Gesand link up starting to look pretty good now as well. Yeah. But Gesand was caught by the defender after VAR check, penalty awarded. And Mateta stepped up for the second time in a week, of course, because obviously this was the first one, and calmly sent our good friend David De Gea the wrong way. Corner flag kicked, 1-0 Palace. And to be honest, fully deserved, right? Fully deserved. 1-0. Up the Palace, we're on. The whole stadium singing "We're on our way to Germany" on repeat for a good 25 minutes.
So annoying. We
kept pressing, and I think the well-worked attacks just kept coming, which was just like me. I mean, forgetting the fact that this is Palace for a minute, Neil. When you watch your team constantly go at the opposition, it's just what you want to see, isn't it? It's just what you want to see.
Oh, from a spectator
even if they're not all going in, you're like, just keep them coming.
Well, you had, I mean, I think overall you had 17 shots. So,
yeah,
I mean, you know, in the European game, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
It is pretty good. And Kamada had an absolute wonder of a game, actually. And I've been, obviously I wasn't his biggest fan when he first came in, but what makes me laugh is that he keeps getting man of the match. And I don't know if you ever have this in football where you've obviously watched a different game to everybody else, because I just kind of watch what he does and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, you know, you've done it. You had a good game. And he gets man of the match, and then I rewatched the game, and I'm like, get it now, get why he got man of the match.
Yeah.
So clearly, I was watching other players, but it's the stuff that he's doing in the background of the game, and quietly controlling it.
I was just about to say the same thing.
Yeah.
It's the control that he has. So as a midfielder, as a central midfielder, there's an element of this. You sometimes don't want to be noticed. Like it's just about he's knitting the ball, the play together. He's in the right place to stop another attack. He's doing the right thing. I think he's had a really good season. I hate saying it, but no, I honestly think Kamada has had a very good season.
I think he found Muniz, who crossed it into Mateta. Mateta hit it goal bound, and De Gea makes a really good save, actually, only for Mitchell just to come motoring in and score all the way across the goal. And it was a lovely team goal. And Mitchell's second in the competition, by the way. It's not bad for a defender, is it?
Is he?
It's his second one. And obviously that was his 199th game at that time. So fair play to Kamada. And obviously I feel like Muniz is kind of coming in. You need Muniz to be on form, right? He was the catalyst to the start of all of this back, over a year ago now. And I think or 18 months ago. And I think that he's obviously been injured and all the other bits and pieces. And I feel like now he's starting to really find his form and that kind of, I don't know, just scary Colombian thing that he's got going on. You don't want to play against him. You just genuinely don't.
But I think the other thing to consider is the fact that, all the players now, you're so close to winning a trophy now. Like it's going to feel like everyone wants to play, everyone wants to score, everyone wants to be part of it and stuff. So suddenly now you're getting to the business end of a season. Everyone's suddenly miraculously fit. There's no problems from that point of view as well. It's that sort of thing. So having Muniz fit and firing, he has been transformational really for Palace, hasn't he? Let's be honest. And
look, he absolutely has, and imperative to the style of play that we play. And when he wasn't there, it's a big miss because you're just missing your whole wing side, right? But anyway, later on into the first half, I think further efforts from Lacroix from a corner, and then JD Canvo once again taking on half the midfield.
This is what you were talking about earlier, wasn't it?
Mate, when he did that, no one was expecting it. No one was expecting it at all, because it was just, there was the expectation that he would pass it diagonally out to one of the wings or whatever it would be. But I honestly, I really rate this kid, and he's, bless him, he had a couple of early accidents, didn't he, where he did that horrific pass back. I can't remember which game it was in where we missed a really narrow margin game because of his little mistake. And I guess an 18-year-old at that point when he made that mistake, it's quite a lot to get over, isn't it? But he's come back, and I promise you now, this kid is going to be massive. He's going to have a big career ahead of him. He will be an international regular, I promise you now. And I don't, when it's too early to compare him to Gahey, but
you're going to.
In that game, you could compare him to Gahey because the style of play and the way that he commanded it, and also in this game, he did something that I've seen him do 3 times now, which is player gets in front of him, running goal bound, he's chasing back. Right, so you imagine that player with the ball dribbling it goal bound, he's chasing back, catching up with him, right?
Yeah,
and then he perfectly times his foot in, right? Not a sliding tackle, nothing like that. Just perfectly catches up with him at pace, gets his foot in, and gets that ball back, but not just kicks it off or anything like that you see. Gets it back, gets it in control, and then passes it the opposite direction in one fail-safe move. You don't see that on a regular basis in the Premier League. This kid, 19-year-old, I promise you now, like, he is going to be an absolute gem. And I think he's going to be one of them ones that we look back in 6 years' time and go, wow, weren't we lucky to have him? Like, I think next season will be his breakout year. So anyway, moving on then. Second half, I think Fiorentina came out fighting. They had an early chance hitting the crossbar and everyone was a bit like, oh, God, wish we got a couple more in the first half. But then Palace continued to attack. Normal servers resumed. Gessan finding Kamada, who hit the side netting. I'd actually already started celebrating at that point because from the angle where I am, I don't know if you have the same trouble at the Amex, but side netting, back of the net, same thing where I am. You can't tell. And then Gessan ended up picking up an injury, which I'm genuinely gutted about. And I've heard that he's out for about 3 weeks, I think.
Really?
Yeah, he was replaced by Pino. But in that game, Gesand was giving me Eze vibes, to be fair, up until that point. You know, like the sporadic dribbling, the moments of brilliance, the kind of just causing trouble and creating a little bit of chaos. And to be honest, the South London vibes that we've had and we've always had in that position, I felt like we were starting to get somewhere, and now he's injured again, which is a shame, because also Glasner has starting him, which was lovely, as opposed to bringing him off the bench. So he'd obviously kind of got into that first team lineup again. But anyway, Pino came on to replace him, which felt also a little bit, to be fair, like a good call at the time, because I think Fiorentina were regaining a bit of the possession, started to get a little bit more hold in the game. Pino coming on helped us kind of pick up the tempo a bit, and also, ironically for Pino, regain a bit of the possession, because our good friend Pino has had a bit of a turnaround in my books. Instead of falling over when anyone was in a 1 metre radius of him, he's now actually started staying on his feet. Hence, he's able to dribble it past numerous people now and control a bit more of the play. And I'm
someone
Pino
must have
right
had
now.
a word then with him. Someone must have had a word with him.
Well, he listens to the pod, doesn't he? He listens to the pod.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
Yeah. Anyway, Sarr was next to have a go, narrowly missing a header from Munez's cross. Once again, Munez just firing them in. But a few minutes later, a superb opportunity for Mateta made it 3. But it didn't, because there just wasn't enough contact. Everyone was celebrating again. We were all loving it. No, he just missed it. Lerma then replaced Mateta for a move that was to secure the victory, right? So Glasner was like, hang on a minute, I'm not mucking this one up. So he put Kamada up front. Sarr just behind Kamada, and Kamada up front. I had to kind of do a bit of a double there. I was like, what are we doing here? But, trust the process. Pino was next to have a go. Very clever run past 3 players, which was lovely. It was lovely to see, because I don't think even Pino realised he still had the ball at his feet after the third one, which was brilliant. And he set up Sarr, and obviously that effort was blocked by the defender. And then in the last minute of injury time, just then we thought we were going to have to settle for 2, Kamada delivered the ball in, Sarr broke away. I think he headed the ball downwards, and then it ended up in the top corner, off the turf, which was lovely to see.
The pass from Kamada, the cross pass, whatever you want to call it, it was beautiful. The space to be able to put that in to where he wants, where Sarr is running onto it, and he has the ability to head it. Really good pass.
And this is the thing, you see, because all of this style of play that we witnessed in this game, we could not play like that against some of the other teams in the league, right? No. You just can't. You absolutely can't. But because they were still coming at us, it allowed us to do it, and opened up. We had the right amount of space in that midfield to be able to open them up. And then it could have been 4, to be fair. There was a goal line clearance. Pino had already beaten the keeper, but right at the end, we thought it was 4, but obviously one of the defenders was on the line there. So look, to summarise, off to Italy for the second leg on Thursday, 3-0 lead and a convincing display. Could have been 4, could have been 5.
Yeah,
it was 17 shots, as you said, 6 on target, mate.
Yeah, it was very depressing watching it. I honestly thought Fiorentina were going to have more of an effect on the game. And realistically now, your boys are going to do exactly what Fiorentina probably should have done in the first leg, which is stick 11 players behind the ball, sit there and just take a nice 0-0 and walk home with your route to the semi-final on its way. I mean, that's all you need to do now going to Italy, which is a completely different outlook, going there with 3-0 and having to just sit there and sit back and defend, than worrying about having to score a goal,
Yeah, do you know what? The only thing I am a little bit worried about.
You can't be worried about this.
No.
You're 3-0 up, Andy.
Bear with me. The only thing I'm a little bit worried about is that we do go into this too cautiously. And if you think about the fact that we've got, I think it's West Ham on the Monday, right? So we've got Thursday and Monday game. Mm-hmm. So whether he decides, because let's be honest, the Newcastle game wouldn't have been that result if we'd have started them 3 players at the start, but
Yeah.
he rested them and played the kind of the second players, as it were, and then brought them on at the end to then get the edge. The question is how's he going to play this? And hopefully we don't go too cautious and give a couple of the youth team a nice day out or whatever, because I'll be honest with you, I'd rather go 1 or 2 up or whatever, or at least score a goal first before we start kind of mucking it around and resting people for the Monday.
I would love to think that you can cock it up. I really would, but I don't think you will. I think you've got.
We are Crystal Palace, Neil. We can cock
Andy,
this up.
Come on, realistically.
I don't think we will.
Realistically,
I don't think we will.
Being 3-0 up, Fiorentina have to go for it. And, as a counter-attacking side that your there is very good chance that you will score at least 1 or 2 goals. So
I hope so.
The chance of Fiorentina scoring 5 goals is going to be very difficult. So, Andy, he'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Thanks. That you just cursed it now. But look, fine. I mean, hopefully, Thursday is a nice night watching it on telly, and then we'll be in the in the semi-finals.
And do you know who you play in the semi-finals? Which tie it is? You said before, didn't you? I think.
I think it's AZ who were.
So it's Shakhtar or AZ, before. Isn't it? Yeah.
And I think AZ are already losing 3-0, so it's looking like Shakhtar.
Yeah, Shakhtar, I believe. Yeah, like you say, and they've got the home. They've basically done the other way around, so they're going to be at home in the next tie, and they're already 3 up, I think. So that, I mean, that's. Yeah, I mean,
out of the 2 teams, though, I'd rather play Shakhtar than AZ again.
Yeah.
So, I think, I mean, look, let's be honest. Fiorentina were one of the 3 or 4 favourites in the competition, right? So, if we can successfully navigate them on the second leg, then that's one of the big threats out. And I think the odds on Palace winning this are, higher than they ever were, right?
Yeah, I mean, interestingly, my thoughts before the beginning of the season started, before the cup started, I was thinking Strasbourg were going to be the ones that everyone had to beat. And they've come out of this quarterfinal, I think, with Mainz, who obviously you played at pre-season, and they're like 2 or 3 down already to that. So it's like
they're a good team, though, Mainz.
But they are. But my point being that I was sort of expecting that type of team to get through, which is interesting. So yeah, I mean, you've still got all to play for. You should win it. You are the favourites, but at the same time, you've got still a long way to go in this, even though it doesn't feel like it because you've got semi-finals. But you know what I mean? It's a long way to go, isn't it, in that sense? And
I'm assuming it's still a 2-legged semi-final. I don't know too much about it. I haven't looked that far. But so we got, you still technically got 3 games before you end up in Germany.
Yeah. But anyway, look, through gritted teeth, mate, congratulations.
Yeah, and truthfully, jokes aside, it is the first time I've Googled what the chances of actually getting a ticket and all of that, because I hadn't even with our dismal performances and the fact that we just scraped through, I didn't even see it as an opportunity. So there we go. You never know, mate, this time next year could be you.
Fingers crossed, mate, fingers crossed. Just gotta worry about the Premier League and someone not winning a cup again that needs to. That would be useful. Anything else? Before we go, any other news? Anything you want to talk about? Any other things that are coming up? No? Okay.
Not from me.
Well, in that case then, I suppose it's time to say thank you very much for listening. This has been Seagull Eagle.
Make sure you follow the show so you don't miss the next episode when it drops. You can find us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook and X.
Just search Seagull Eagle and get the conversation started. Drop us an email at seagulleaglepodcast@gmail.com.
Now, we'll be back on Tuesday, the 28th of April, to discuss Palace's Conference League quarter-final against Fiorentina and their league games against West Ham and Liverpool. They're coming thick and fast. And don't forget, we've also got Brighton's games against Tottenham and Chelsea. Ooh.
Yeah, that should be fun. I'm looking forward to that one. Home game under the lights against the horrible Chelsea. But until then,
Seagulls! Eagles!